Hey everyone, I hope all of you are having an amazing day. My name is Mayo and I am the designer and crafter for AO Leather. You can follow me on aoleather.com or on Instagram at aoleather. Today I will be showing all of you guys how to make a leather sunglass case that looks like this. This is a minimalist design. It is something that you can easily do with a couple of tools and a little bit of experience. Today the project will take about 45 minutes to an hour, and my goal for this project is simply just to share it with you guys so that you empower yourself to create art and to believe that you can do anything you want. Just put yourself in front and allow the flow, the process to take you where it wants to go. Alright, here we go, let's start. No, I'm just kidding, these are not mine. These are my wife's, but I made this for her, and today I want to show you guys how to make one for your wife, for your husband, or your brother, or anybody that wants to have one, or for yourself. So today the project is going to take roughly 45 minutes to an hour. I will just flow and freely talk about the tools that I'll be using, some tips, some advice, and hopefully by the end of the video you'll have some knowledge as to do the project on your own. I'll have the list of tools, the music that I'm playing, on my website or somewhere on the internet, but we'll make sure to follow up on that later. So for now, grab a drink. It is essential for you to have a drink, whatever it is that you may want to drink. I will be drinking LaCroix today. And please put some music on so that you feel comfortable, so you feel at ease and that you are in the zone. Here we go. Cheers. Alright, so leather projects don't start without the actual material of leather. This is a vegetable tan leather that I got from Tanny Leather. I source my leathers from various places across the world and in the States. Tanny Leather happens to be something that a store that is really available throughout most states, and they have pretty good selection of tools, of leather hides, and all the things that you need to complete most projects. So today we're using a 5 to 6 ounce veg tan leather. Something that you'll also need, which I will provide you, not a binder, but this is where I keep all of my patterns that I've used and created throughout the years. And yep, this is it. I will scan this and I will have this available for you guys to print and use as a pattern so that you can complete this project on your own time. So here we go. Let's make some space. You'll see me reach to my side as I grab some tools. I don't have a particular workshop as I travel a lot with my family. So most of the time I take all of my tools in this little lunch box, and that's basically all I need besides my leathers, drinks, and some music. Alright, so I'm going to make sure that this fits in a nice clean area. This is a beautiful piece of leather here. I am going to put this, whoa, that's alright, nobody's here. I'm going to put this up, and I am actually going to use this pen. This is also from Tanny Leather. I'm doing a lot of promotional items for them today. We'll see if they pay me for this. But this guy is good for writing on leather. It could be erased, although not as easily as they say on their website, but it still works. So I'm going to trace my pattern with this pen. And literally, I just follow the lines. Alright, as I do this, I am going to talk about things relating to life, love, relationships, art, anything that comes to mind and anything that surfaces my head. I am a professor of communication. That's what I do as a job. So naturally, I want to communicate and share experiences with others. I also am an avid gardener. I can't wait to go back to Florida in a couple of weeks to our house in Orlando, where I have collected, I would say, nearly 500 different plants and I mean collected as a term, but I've gone out and recycled plants that people don't like and given them a second home. In Florida, it's hot, humid all year round, so people cycle through their plants and throw them out the curb, and I make sure to grab them and give them a second home. So that's why I started doing leather hangers for plants, because I needed to hang so many different plants that I collected over the years, and it became a passion that others saw was also of value. There you go. And so, besides doing sunglass cases, I do all kinds of things in leather. Alright, so now I'm going to mark every single little hole in the pattern. When you get your pattern printed, this is something you will have to do, is punch out the little holes in the pattern. You can do that with a little pen or pin or anything that's sharp and pointy. It doesn't have to be, you know, leather. So many people have so many speculations about leather, in that they want to be experts and they want to have all the tools and all the best possible materials, and you really don't need that. You just have to find the resources that are around you to make it work for you and for your project. I am all about being resourceful. Alright, so I'm almost done here. Alright, perfect. Put this little guy away. Put this little guy away. That's the last time we'll need him or her. We're all friendly people here towards different genders. And now I'm going to cut out my pattern. You can start cutting it out if you feel comfortable, or you can cut out a rough section of your leather. See, you also have to consider what else can you use this piece of leather here for. So rather than cutting across, I might just cut this way and allow for this to be a long strap or something that I can use for another project. Be mindful of your leather, as it is something that is pretty pricey and has many different uses for the different projects that you may want. I always roll my leather to keep it nice. Nice and flat, which is kind of a weird thing to say, that you roll something to keep it nice and flat. Oh, let me turn down the heater. Alright, so I am wearing my sweater. This is one of my favorite sweaters, but I'm also wearing one of my not most favorite pair of shorts, as you will get some paint and some oil on your hands, and you're going to want to wipe things down. So make sure that you're wearing clothes that you normally don't want to go out to a party or somewhere you need to impress somebody with. Alright, here we go. How do you cut leather? This is something that is really important. You can angle your scissors depending on the projects, but most projects will require you to cut straight on. There's so many different techniques to doing this. However, there's no right or wrong. You just have to learn as you experience it. That's basically it. How sharp should a pair of scissors be? Again, the quote-unquote experts want everything to be the highest quality, and I agree to a certain extent. But I am not a professional leather crafter, although some people may argue differently. I am more of a hobbyist that have turned this into a side income that supports my hobby, that supports my passion. So my scissors are not the most sharp pair of scissors out there. One, because my kids have used them to cut other things other than leather, and that kind of dulls out your scissors. And number two, I didn't really invest much in these, so they're not the best. Alright, leather scraps are always used for other things. You'll see in a minute what I mean with that. or what I mean by that. We'll keep these here on the side. All right, I'm gonna move a little bit faster. Here we go. Ooh. For any of you that love to work with leather, I'm sure that you have this same affection for the smell and for the feel of leather as I do. If you don't, it's something that you will pick up in time, because this is a living piece of art. Leather doesn't die per se. It is something that still has the essence of the animal, and it's an organic material, which means technically that it's still alive? I don't know. All right, cool. Hole puncher. Again, your trusty leather store should have one of these. This little bad boy is almost at 10 years of age, and I'm gonna call her she, has seen a lot of different projects, and it's almost getting ready to be replaced because there is no spring back on this, and it hurts my hands every time I try using it. But the point is that you're gonna want to use the smallest size puncher, or whatever that little thing is called, to make your holes. Some people like to use, what are they called? Little diamond tip thingamajiggers that I have somewhere around. These guys. They like to use these to create a uniform pattern of holes from then which they can sew. I'm thinking in a couple languages here, so you might see me stumble on some words, but again, we're just flowing. There is no pressure to be right or wrong. This is simply an experience, and about the experience that brings us growth. We learn from doing. So I don't use these often because I actually like the process of having to use one hole at a time. It's just my preference. Alright, the little scrap goes in the back to give you some support. This allows for the puncher to work the hole easier. And a cleaner hole is always a better hole, if that makes sense. Alright. Today is December 1st, and I'm sure many of you are getting ready for your Christmas holiday shopping season. All of the wonderful things that come with being a consumerist society. Frankly, I just look forward to sharing time with people that I love. Isn't that what this season is about? At least it should be. Something that I don't really like about Christmas is how most places across America start Christmas way back, it seems like in August. And the Christmas spirit is kind of diluted in many ways. It is, you know, there's no sense of being present, of being in the moment. Alright, here we go. See those little holes? You want to try to keep these as straight as possible. That is the one drawback from, and when I mean straight, I mean in a line. Don't worry if they're not exactly 100% straight, because you can always hide that with your thread. You'll see what I mean a little later. Alright, here we go. Today I'm listening to music from Nigeria. I normally cycle through sounds from across the world. Uh-oh. That's my heaters going up. Let me go turn these down. I'll be right back. I'm back. Did you miss me? I know. I missed you too. So yeah, I like to listen to music from across the world to expand my hearing, my overall sense of place. You know, when we reach across the border, we can grow and learn from our own experiences. We can make sense of who we are. And believe it or not, music has that power. I know many of you understand that, and some of you might be saying, nah. But that's okay, because as they say here, to each their own, right? Follow and do as you please. All right, let me go a little faster. Da, da, da. All right, so what are you hoping for the New Year's? What are you hoping to accomplish for, you know, how everybody sets a new kind of theme or a new kind of goal? What is your goal? What is your most desired thing to accomplish next year? The reason why I ask that is because why wait till New Year's? Why not start today? Why not start building a dream board or start creating a sense of progression with your today? Write down your ideas and set some intentions down so that you can start to follow through. Again, anything is possible. Anything is possible in this world. If we've been to the moon and soon to Mars, which is crazy, why not anything else? Literally, why not? In the future, as I tell my kids, anything is possible. My oldest son Joel always says, "Papa, can trains fly?" I don't know why he always asks me the same question, because the answer is always the same. And I say, they can't now, but maybe in 100 years they might, right? Maybe. Right, here we go. Now I'm going to change this little setting to a slightly bigger punch so as to make room for my rivets. I will show you those wherever they may be. Yeah, here we go. More promotional material from Tandy Leather. Alright, these are line 24 snaps. And you're going to want to make the hole slightly bigger than what this little thingamajigger is, the diameter. Slightly bigger, so that it's a nice and snug fit. Hey. See, sometimes when you don't use the little thing in the back, your hole doesn't punch through, especially if you have an older punch, like the one I have. But that's okay, because again, what's the rush? What's the worry? It's about having fun and experiencing things. All right, this is what it looks like right now. This is your. This is it. This is it. We're almost there. getting close to the parts where we start dyeing the leather and then stitching it up. Oh, I've been saying sewing. Sorry, stitching. Somehow in Spanish I think sewing is what I mean, but in English doesn't translate. All right. Done with these, and you're done with that. Your next part is making these little lines. How do you make those lines? How do you score those lines? Or how do you engrave, or whatever the word is that I don't seem to remember? Well, you're going to have to use a little bit of water. Oh, I just spilled a lot of water, but that's okay, because why not? Mistakes and accidents happen to all of us. And that's also part of the learning experience. All right, a lot of people like to use sponges. A lot of the professionals, again, like to use sponges. I am more of the believer that you could use whatever thing that is around you. Let's say that you don't have a sponge, but you have a rag. Yeah, go ahead, use a rag. Just dip the rag in water and wet. Let me put the water out this way. Wet this portion that we are going to score. I believe that's the right word. And many of you might be correcting me as I speak, which is cool. Thank you. I appreciate that in a virtual sense. Okay, you're gonna want to wet this little part. That's gonna allow you to make those beautiful little lines that I showed you a second ago. All right, next you're gonna need some kind of tool, some kind of sharp tool. You don't need the actual part that cuts, you just need the blunt part of it to press against it, and that's going to give you the lines or the impression in the leather of lines. A ruler, a metal ruler is always my go-to, as the wood rulers tend to, well, you can cut into the wood rulers, the metal won't do that. Alright, I'm going to put the ruler, I believe it is perpendicular to, and if you don't have one of these boards either, it's totally cool. You don't need to have a, I think they're called a craft, I don't even know what it's called, but it doesn't matter. Again, this is not about being right or perfect. This is about experiencing this moment and learning from it. So you're gonna have to score it, put some weight into it, put your back into it, as they say in a couple songs. That's funny. I just crack myself up all the time. All right, and after you have your first line, it is up to you the width of the following lines, because again, this project is not about being perfect. This project is about learning and experiencing. So I'm gonna make my lines. I'm gonna say, I don't know what this is. Not like an eighth? No. You know what? Forget about it. Don't even worry about dimensions. Just sense it out. How far apart do you want your lines? I want mine to be this far apart. Cool. How many lines do I want? I don't know. Maybe let's go all the way. Since this is a product that I actually do sell, I have to keep some sort of consistency, some sort of uniformity. And with that said, I've never really counted all the lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, that I can put in the sunglass cases. I just go with the flow. As a consumer, you might notice that perhaps yours has 5 lines and your cousin's has 4. That just means that I was in that kind of mood that day, where the 5 lines guy or the girl got 5 lines instead of 4. It doesn't matter. Boom. I think I got fit one more. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, this is gonna be a 5-line kind of case. All right. Well, it is the season for giving, so I'm gonna give this person an extra line. Okay. Beautiful. Here we go. See that? That's it. Those lines are permanent. And in the next step, you can either accentuate those lines by going deeper with your oil, or you can go lighter, and you'll see what I mean when we get to that process. I actually see a little bit of a little piece here that could be cut to become more straight. Oh, do many of you bite your lip like me as you're doing? I think I got that from my mom. Like anytime I'm doing something that needs careful attention, I tend to do that a lot, and I see my son doing that as well. My both sons. All right, this is done. You're gonna put it away, or I'm gonna put this away. It's a sharp tool. Alright, what's my next step? The next step is the fun step. It is dyeing or coloring your leather. How do you achieve this color? Well, I like to use, once again, from Tandy Leather, this Eco Flow, and it is a saddle tan. I'm going to use it. I keep a lot of different little bags around. This is my bag for my leather conditioner. This was just to clean up messes that I have, and this is my actual dyeing rag. Something that I recommend everyone to use is a pair of gloves or one glove to keep things less messy. Although this glove is already messy because the water that I spilled earlier seeped in all inside the glove. Oh man, it is making the glove rip. It's not working out. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, it does not matter. Again, it is about being in the moment, being here, being present. Right, here we go. I'm going to dip my rag in the water. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a little bowl of water. And I'm going to put it all over the leather. I'm actually not going to put it. I'm going to saturate the leather. I know many of you might be saying, like, man, you're a communications professor and you can't talk. I know. But that's not a bad thing that I'm not able to say all the right words. I'm able to communicate effectively, and I think you would understand me. That's the intention of communication. As long as you get the meaning across and the receiver is able to fully comprehend your messages, then good. You've accomplished your goal as a communicator, as an effective communicator. And also, this is not a class, so I don't have to be completely right with my language or the words that I'm choosing. Alright, the messy and the fun part. Something else that I suggest you use is perhaps like a cardboard or another piece of paper or something to keep things tidy underneath. Alright? Otherwise, this is going to get all over the place. And it's just going to be dye everywhere, and you're going to end up with color in your couches and in your shirts and things that you don't want to be dyeing. Alright, so how do you dye? Again, the experts have different techniques. I suggest messing up. Seriously, who cares? Go ahead. Mess the thing up. The more things you mess up, the more experiences that you have to gain from. There is no right or wrong. In fact, oil dye, I find, tends to be a little bit more forgiving in the sense that you don't have to have the right technique to impregnate the leather. You simply just work the dye. Some areas will look darker as you're putting the dye down, but all that is going to lighten up as you see the leather cure or the dye cure or dry up in the next couple of minutes. So you might want to have a second application of oil to achieve that nice rich color. That's what I did. That's what I do. Most of the products that I make that have a dye or that are dyed, I tend to make them so that they look purposely distressed, purposely aged, so that when you receive it, it looks like the product either has had a nice time traveling across the Sahara Desert or somewhere across the Indian Ocean. But the point is that it doesn't look like a brand new product. I like things that have character, things that have dents and dinks and whatever other words you can use to describe uniqueness and character. Like all of us. So many scars, so many wrinkles, so many things that make you you. Empower yourself. Like, you're beautiful. You are perfect. Well, not perfect, but you are whole. There is no need to change things about yourself. Just embrace them, and the more that you embrace them, the more beautiful that they become. All right, this is looking beautiful. From experience, I know that this is going to dry a little less darker than it looks. So I'm going to give it about 5 minutes. I'm going to work on the back side. Again, many of the pros out there might be thinking, oh no, you don't put that down on the cardboard and then it's going to mess up the color. I really don't mind that it messes up the color. I want those kinds of discolorations, those kinds of features. I don't like perfect. I want to have experiences that are meaningful. That's it. So for the back side, you will need to also wet your piece of leather. Otherwise, why do you wet the leather? Okay, it's a good question you ask. You wet it so that the pores are open and therefore the color can penetrate into those pores and sit in deeper. If you don't wet your leather, your color might not penetrate all the way in, and therefore you will not gain best possible results with a uniform color or with a nice patina at the end. So I asked you earlier, what is your intention for 2017? My intention, thank you for asking, is to put myself out there more like this kind of scenario, to be able to connect more. I talk about how I always want to empower others and assist people in living meaningful lives, and yet I recognize that I am a person that loves to be on their own, taking walks in nature or surfing or doing something that you could say is individual. So I want to expose myself. I want to be able to have vulnerability in which we can find a meaningful connection and empower each other to be more at ease, more human, more aware of things that we discover within us that make us who we are. All right, cool. That's done. How much water? Oh no, see, that's a big oops, because if I don't work that in, that's gonna leave a big all round spot. But again, it's okay. It's completely cool. No need to panic. All you do is just spread the dye around. Give this little piece of leather some love. Make sure you get all the different pieces. Why do you color the inside? The reason for that is because I am going to also color the edges, and by doing that you get some of that dye on the inside of the piece. So that looks a little messy. To cover that up, you simply just dye the backside. And it looks nicer too. I think it looks nice. I hope you think it looks nice. Oh, right. So I've been living here in Chicago. Sorry, we've been living here in Chicago for the last 5 months. The one thing I've learned about Chicago is that people are actually friendly. Oh, I shouldn't say Chicago. I live in Oak Park. It's like a village or a town west of Chicago, of the actual city. I don't know, maybe 8 miles away. We're not far. I can see all the buildings out the window. All the buildings in downtown. But here in this community, people are so nice. People are super friendly and always kind, smiling, and I don't know, you know, I've been to other places in the States and people compare Chicago with New York and LA. I don't think it's fair to do that because there's so many different pockets of the cities that you really can't generalize about a certain area or a certain group of people, and you shouldn't generalize. We're all different and unique, but we can talk about our unique experiences and how those experiences have certain patterns. Some of the patterns that I've seen are that the people tend to be really nice here, friendly, and I love that. I really love that. You know, where we come from, where we have our house in Orlando, Florida. Yeah, our neighborhood has those qualities. I think it also depends on you, right? If you expose yourself to that kind of friendliness, that openness, the ability to connect. And in many areas, I don't find it. I find that, oh, okay, here we go. We're gonna dye the edges. Why do you wanna dye the edges? Well, so that we have a nice and uniform look throughout our piece. And again, all the experts out there might be saying that I am doing this completely wrong, and I welcome your feedback and opinions. But again, I'm not shooting for perfection. I simply just want to have fun and enjoy this process of learning. You can never be an expert at something. How can you call yourself an expert? I mean, you could call yourself an expert, but I think by doing that, you're limiting the potential to really bask or to soak in these rich experiences that are only possible if you allow yourself to have a mindset of a learning and an experiential human being where everything is a lesson, everything is a possibility. All right, check this out. You see how the front side is already drying, and it's drying in some spots darker than others. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a second little run and kind of give it a more uniform look. By doing that, some of the areas that are lighter will get darker, and some of the areas that are darker will continue to become richer with color. No. I think it's almost time for a music change. Feeling the reggae vibes coming soon. What do you think? We can go with a little bit of reggae and maybe some samba or some salsa, some folk. Actually, some folk sounds good today. The weather is a little gloomy, so it sounds like a nice alternative to reggae and palm trees. I'll save that for Florida when I get there in a couple weeks. All right, this is looking so beautiful. I don't know if you can tell or not. The back itself is also drying, and as it continues to dry, you'll see a uniform pattern in the next couple of minutes. I will say 20 minutes. Let's put this bad boy to the side. I'm gonna take off my glove, and only the spot that was broken was the spot that I got dye in. So I'm gonna use my trusty little rag to clean that up. And I'm also gonna clean up my working area. Something that I really enjoy doing is to maintain an area of work that is neatly organized so that I am focused on what I'm doing and not trying to crowd my mental space with too many things. that is not the same for the rest of the house when our kids are home, because there's toys and things and there are mountains of clothes that they just change and costumes, and it's just looks like a fun experience. But today I'm alone, so I get to have things my way, neatly organized. All right, cool. I'm gonna keep that on the piece of cardboard. And I'm gonna bring a piece that I already tanned, dyed, whatever you wanna call it. Did the same process. As you can see, some areas might be a little bit darker than others, but I kinda like that. I like the whole idea of it not looking like a uniform piece that was made in China or in some other mass-producing country. No, we want to put our soul into this. We want to put our intentions, and my intention is to create a piece of art that looks beautiful, but that has character. Here's the backside. The backside dries nicely and uniform, and compared to leather that is not dyed, you can tell that there is a little bit of color into it. All right, cool. How do you put the rivets? Well, I'm going to show you that with a simple demonstration. You have a back side, you have a front side, meaning you have this piece that goes in the front, right? That looks like that. And the actual side in the back for you to clasp this. Comes out like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many pieces do I need? When you buy this at your local store, your local leather store, all the things that you need will come in the little package, and the people there will also give you a little bit of advice as to how to set these in. Something else you're going to need is this little contraption. I don't know the name, I completely forgot. And this little thing, which they call it a setter. I don't know, let's call it a line 24, because these are the type of clasp or straps or whatever it is. I can't think of the word. What is this called? Snap. There you go. Snap. Hear it? Snap. Line 24 snaps. Since that piece of leather is drying, I'm just going to show you a demonstration. I'm just going to give you a demo. Kind of a mock demo. You put the piece through the front, you put the other little cap in the back. Okay? You know what? Let's do it on a piece of leather. Why not? Why not? Get a little piece of scissors. Make a little hole. I'm going to, again, put my little piece, the top part, through the hole, a nice and snug hole, because that gives it rigidity, strength, whatever the word is. And the piece in the back is where it actually clasps. So you set that in the back. You find your size, which is the biggest size, the line 24. You put that down on something that is going to give you a little bit of cushion. You take your setter and you use a hammer or some heavy tool. And that's about it. Smack it a couple times, and the thing itself won't move because it will open and expand in the back. And after you do that, you continue the process with the other piece. All right, let's move these to the side and continue. How's it going so far? Think you're learning something, or am I just talking too much? A little bit of both, huh? All right, something that I like to do depending on the mood that I'm in before or after, is putting a sheen. Again, this is from Tanny Leather, and this is a super sheen. You want to use this to give your finished product a nice shine to it. See, this is matte, this has no sheen to it, and this one, I'm not sure if you can tell, has a little bit of a gloss. And what that also does is, besides putting the sheen on it, is it protects the leather from water. How would I say protects? It makes it more resistant to water damages, or for the actual oil to leach onto your clothes or into your bag. So it kind of seals and protects. There's different kinds of sheens that have a different kind of gloss. I like to use one that has not the highest gloss setting, but something that gives it a little bit of finesse, a little bit of a shine to it. I'm going to use a little paper towel. All your experts out there, again, rep me, send me feedback if you think I'm doing wrong. But again, trial and error, learn as you go. This is the way I do it. I've done it with sponges before. I've done it with my finger. This is all up to you. I wet this a little bit so that this takes on the sheen and it soaks up a little bit easier. Once I have enough on my piece, I'm going to work this fairly in uniform pattern to that without leaving any kind of streaks. So that it doesn't leave any streaks or any kind of blotches. You can apply multiple coats or a couple coats of sheen to your product. I just like to apply one nice thick one, and it dries fairly fast. As I'm putting it, I can see the streaks already drying. So I'm going to work a little bit more into it. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. Put that away, put this away, and this music is not working out, so we're going to change this up. I don't know. What do you feel like? Let's go with some. Let's go with some Cultura Profética. This is my go-to reggae band for Spanish speakers. But if you don't speak Spanish, it's also really cool sounds, and perhaps you might find something of interest when you listen to it. Alright, here we go. I'm going to play this, create a station. Voila. Yeah. That's it. Alright, the next step. Let me see how I'm doing with video. Cool. Still have enough memory on my phone, so let's keep going. You're going to need some kind of glue. Wait a minute, I see some streaks on this that I don't like. So let me work in circular pattern here and create another coat, another layer of that super sheen. See, I messed up. I left some streaks Now I'm gonna have them go backwards and covering them, but it's all good because this is only gonna add an extra layer of sheen, an extra layer of protection. Beautiful, beautiful. This leather glue is also from Candy Leather. It is not your caustic leather glue. It is water-based glue, and it works okay, but it doesn't hold that well on the edges. It doesn't hold the greatest when it comes to creating a nice seal, you know, without the leather splitting. So to combat that, I went ahead and used Gorilla Glue, and in the actual packaging it says that it bonds leather. Again, the experts out there might be purists and only want to use that caustic stuff. I could smell this all day. I might get a headache, but I'm sure I'm not gonna kill a couple brain cells from that. Maybe a couple, but not as many as the other stuff. So, how do we apply this? Well, again, from Candy Leather, you can use your finger, you can use a piece of leather if you want, whatever tool you want to use. There is no right or wrong. You grab some on your tool, and I am just going to place it on the outside of my holes. I'm actually not putting it or covering the holes that I made. Why is that? Because there's no need. I don't want to cover the holes, as I'm going to have to stitch through the holes in a little bit. Also, you might be able to see that leather. You might be able to see the glue in the inside of the leather if you go over the edge, the inside edge of the holes. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's basically what it looks like. I'm going to do the other side. Put this away. No more spills, please. Alright, cool. That's it for that. You put this little guy away. Mala atención, amor, no es presión. No se consigue amor, obligación. Alright, cool. Something you need to have handy is your wax thread. You can use various sizes. I'm not going to get into the size. It's all up to you. And a nice little needle. Again, the needle sizes also depend on you. I will give you the details later on the website, but for now, all there is to it is making a little knot at the end as my stopper. Some people do this and some don't. I choose to do this depending on the project and depending on my mood. There's no right or wrong. I'm just gonna have that handy there. Now, the one side I applied glue to the first, or one side I applied glue first, I'm going to use the super glue and add a little dab along the edge. This glue, the leather glue, is already dry. It's a contact glue. Close that. So I'm going to line up the holes. How do I line up the holes? By putting it up in the air and seeing the light shine through. That makes me aware that I am exactly aligned with my holes. I'm going to press, 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 working from one side to the other side. I'm going to clean the excess glue. Don't worry about any kind of excess glue that seeps through the edge. You can always work that out later with sandpaper. I'll show you how. Oh no, not my sweater. Your pants, not the sweater. So I have to hold this for 15 to 45 seconds according to the instructions of the glue. The reason why I'm cleaning my hands, actually the reason why I put the sheen first is so that none of this glue goes on the actual product, because again it's protected. If I didn't have that, then the glue could have seeped in through the leather, through the dye, and created a patch or some sort of spots. When it dries, there's no way of getting that out unless I sand that piece. That just becomes a whole mess. Hello, você consigue amor. All right, that's it. That's one piece, or one side. You can choose to start sewing that side or stitching that side. But I like to, you know what? No, let's do one side. Let's do one side. Again, this is it doesn't glue unless there is contact, so you don't have to worry about this drying too much before you can seal it. I'm going to start with going from the inside of the hole, the first hole. Alright, and that little knot that we made earlier is going to keep this from coming out. And then I'm going to continue to work upwards. This is not that important. The tension that you put into you should have a little bit of tension, but make sure not to pull too much, as you're going to distress the holes that you punched. So you're going to find that just a little tug is all you need. I learned leathercraft from my really talented aunt. She is one of the most talented people I've ever met in my life. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Now I have to show you what to do with coming through again. You're gonna want to create a alternating pattern as you come through each hole. What I mean is that, this is actually kind of hard to see if it's not close up. So I'm gonna get as close as possible. All right, I'm going in and I'm going to the one side of that thread. I'm gonna pull and I'm gonna go into the opposite side in the next hole. You may be thinking, what? What do you mean? Well, let's say that, you know what, let's just flow. Let's just flow. I might do a more detailed shot in another video. If you get it now, great. If you don't get it, not the worst of things, because it's not that it's gonna look bad, it's just that this is gonna look a lot nicer, a lot cleaner finish with your thread kind of doing a zigzag. I guess it's called a French stitch if I'm not incorrect. So from one side I come in and then I go in to the next hole from the other side, or to the other side of the thread. Almost done. You know what? Something I didn't do is I'm actually gonna, am I gonna double stitch the bottom? Some people like to go over 2 times on the edges of your holes to give it more rigidity, because those are the areas that have more tension. It all depends on the design and if you choose to. I'm not going to do that. Yes, I am going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Let's go twice at the bottom. Because this here, this little circle, a little U is creating a lot of tension, and it could split. So let me just double it up. All right, coming out. How do you finish your project? How do you finish stitching it? You literally just bring your stitch through not the same hole, but a hole above or two holes above, and that creates tension, so that it's not going to come out that easily. Cut that little piece, push it back in, and that's it. That's one side. You repeat the process on the other side. Fold it, close it, voila! You have a sunglass case. I know it sounds simple, and it is not that complicated, but with some practice and your ability not to freak out about being perfect, to being right, just to experience it. As a matter of fact, write me a comment and let me know any kind of struggles you're having, so that I can assist you in learning and seeking those answers from within yourself. I hope all of you enjoyed this session with me. I really am thankful for having the opportunity to present this project to all of you and to empower all of you to find a creative outlet, to find the values within yourself, to believe that anything is possible and that you can accomplish anything in life as long as you put yourself in that experience. Again, my name is Mayo, and I am with AO Leather. You can follow me at aoleather.com or at Instagram at AO Leather. We'll talk soon. More videos to come. Take care.